The parole board to determine if whether or not Eric would be a danger to the public if he were to be released.
And right behind me is the Palomar Street exit. You'll notice lined all up and down the side of the exit are these tents.
We're gonna go ahead and pan over here because you can see the fire crews. Just earlier, we saw some ranchers trying to come this way and they had to turn around. The students and the protesters who are in the inside of that circle, they are locking arms.
Nonprofit pausing its migrant shelter services, but they're not stopping the work they do altogether.
But then it's a different story once you get inside the airport. So let's go ahead and show you what it's looking like right now.
That sparked his lifelong mission of keeping others safe out here on the water.
I paid about $3.99 plus some change, but the cost of this could be going up soon.
When asylum seekers get denied at ports of entry like in San Isidro, why would they choose to come here?
The inventory at the auction may be slim, which also might make it challenging for him to keep his car lot full.
But they say that it also attracts a lot of stingrays, and they're especially going to be hanging out down by the jetty. Yeah, Max, so this move specifically targets those programs that provide legal representation to those unaccompanied minors.
He took a tour with IB Mayor Paloma Aguirre right here to this hotspot that I'm standing in front of. But the hospital tells me that this strike now has them worried for their patients, and I want to show you why. She's really doing this in the interest of curing a public health crisis.
Are expected to be dropping off their ballots for a strike authorization vote. They would potentially join this strike here at the Hilton Bayfront, concerned about the future of research and medicine following executive actions taken by President Trump.
In this National City neighborhood, known by locals as Hatfield, is a murder case that's been buried but not forgotten. The killing of Cynthia Peppers. It was a Saturday night, just 3 days after Christmas. Family and friends were hanging outside of Cynthia's home on Mann Avenue near Alpha Street. The mother of 4 was just returning home from a quick trip to the grocery store.
Through the investigation, we learned that 2 vehicles had driven up and parked on the side of the house on Alpha Avenue.
Detective Mark Siegel with the National City Police Department has been working Cynthia's case for nearly a decade.
The vehicles were fairly distinct vehicles that had pulled up. One was a red Datsun 280Z, and the other was a gray Honda Accord. And they pulled up in tandem. People got out of both vehicles with firearms and shot at the people standing in front of the house.
Detective Siegel says out of the huge crowd outside the Peppers house, 4 people were shot. Cynthia was the only one who did not survive. She took a bullet straight to her head as she was walking from her car to the front door of her house.
This is the spot where Cynthia Peppers parked her car, and she had just gotten back from the grocery store. She could have never have known that as she was unloading her groceries, she would take her final breath. She was only 39 years old.
My mom was a hardworking mom. That's always the first thing that comes to mind.
This is Naisha Allen. She's Cynthia's daughter.
She took very good care of us. She was funny, always laughing, life of the party, caring, compassionate, and very supportive.
Naisha said she was just a few houses down that night, visiting with her grandmother, when her mom was shot and killed.
I actually heard the gunshots, and I just remember at one point looking at her, and she was shot in her head. And I did not expect to be picking out my mom's casket at 19 years old while I'm home for break when we're supposed to be celebrating Christmas.
One of the other 3 people shot that night was the driver of this ice cream truck parked in the Peppers driveway. It would go on to give this homicide a notable name.
The ice cream truck homicide. The ice cream truck that was on the driveway when the shooting occurred was somewhat of an icon in the neighborhood at the time.
Both Detective Siegel and Naisha believe the shooters were targeting someone else in the crowd of people hanging outside of the Peppers house that night.
It was a lot of people out there, and my mom was an innocent bystander.
Detective Siegel says that one of the many reasons why Cynthia Peppers' case went cold was because her shooting was a part of a string of shootings at the time where Southeast San Diego gangs were retaliating back at one another.
There were other shootings in the same week that dimmed Cynthia's spotlight in the media and public quickly. Detective Siegel says the ties that Cynthia's shooting had to gangs were another big hurdle in finding her killer.
I'm confident that there are plenty of people who know who perpetrated this crime, but I still believe that people are afraid to come forward and provide information.
Detective Siegel believes shell casings recovered from the scene of the crime could be a valuable clue.
There have been advancements in DNA technology and forensic evidence, and we're attempting to resubmit some of the evidence that was collected at the time to have it evaluated with those new technologies.
Detective Siegel also tells me he plans on re-interviewing some of the original witnesses and persons of interest.
I feel it's a necessary step that must be taken to try to resolve this homicide.
After 23 years, Detective Siegel hopes someone will finally break their silence about who is responsible for the murder of Cynthia Peppers. That answer would mean the world to Cynthia's family.
I'm fighting for her justice. I'm fighting for closure. Not just for me, this is for my family.
In National City, Dani Miskell, ABC 10 News.
I'm here outside of Chula Vista Learning Community Charter High School, and this is where a teacher is under scrutiny after students say he made disturbing comments about conservative activist Charlie Kirk's assassination.
Right, and now he can't, because he's dead.
This is audio from inside a classroom at Chula Vista Learning Community Charter School, obtained by ABC 10 News. In the recording, you can hear a teacher having a conversation with students about Charlie Kirk's assassination.
I feel bad for his family, sure.
No one deserves that.
But you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Sorry.
A family member of a student inside the classroom met with me. We're not showing their face because they're afraid of retaliation against the student for speaking out.
I couldn't stay quiet about it. I think that's just evil.
This family member tells me the incident took place last Thursday. They say the school dealt with the comments swiftly.
So from what I understand, and I believe they were escorted out of the school that same day during the middle of this class. At first I thought, this is good. The school is standing up for good. They're doing the right thing.
However, this person says the teacher is back in class this week.
It's odd to see that he's back so soon already.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
ABC 10 News is not naming the teacher because we've been unable to get in touch with him. I tried calling him to get his side of the story.
My name is Dani, and I'm a reporter at Channel 10 News.
But no answer. The school tells us they can confirm the teacher works for them, but can't say anything more because it's a personal matter.
I'd argue most of the country is mourning over this. It was a shock.
For this family member, it's personal to them too. In Chula Vista, Dani Miskell.
I think it's time we come together, stand up against this.
ABC 10 News.
It was incredibly impersonal. As I mentioned, my name wasn't mentioned, and it was essentially, we've done a review and we found that we don't need your services anymore.
At the end of February, Rob Friedman was among the first wave of USAID employees to be cut. According to ABC News, around 4,000 employees were placed on leave. Another 1,600 got an email like Rob's, telling them their services were no longer needed. Shortly after, members of the president's administration were seen on television questioning the agency's spending.
If you look at the waste and abuse,
Rob tells me those labels couldn't be farther from the truth.
How we were being labeled was quite disconcerting to hear.
Rob joined USAID 13 years ago. He worked for the Bureau for Humanitarian Assistance, dealing with disaster situations around the world and delivering food, shelter, and essential supplies. Rob is a photographer and took pictures while illustrating some of the work he did abroad. Rob took this photo in Nepal while helping with earthquake management in 2015.
We went back to Nepal to check and to see which of the schools stood after the earthquake, primarily the ones that were constructed with the education and training provided by USAID. These schools stood.
Rob also spent time in Honduras after catastrophic hurricanes ripped through the country, devastating its crops. He took this photo of a Honduran girl while helping local farmers.
Making sure that the latest technologies are being used to make sure that they're producing a lot. And we're finding incredible results from this.
Then in 2014 and 2018, USAID got involved in West Africa where there was the Ebola outbreak.
The fact that Ebola didn't make it to the United States shows what it is that USAID did. Sometimes it's easy to overlook an achievement like that because it didn't hurt anybody.
Rob says all of the projects he was deployed on came directly from the administration in office at that time.
So the idea that USAID should just have his head cut off for following guidance is difficult to stomach.
But they turn out to be radical left lunatics.
It's been more than a month since the Trump administration announced it was getting rid of USAID. Rob worries what long-term consequences we could see with foreign policy and humanitarian efforts globally.
I think that the biggest loss is going to be from health programs. The initial problems that you're going to have is you just don't have the same system in place now for health support. And this is clearly going to result in, sorry to say, more death.
And as for the food supply from American farmers to countries living with food insecurity or drought,
this is also gone.
If you could give our policymakers one key message, what would it be?
There's something called the 3 Ds for foreign policy, and that's defense, development, and diplomacy. USAID is the organization carrying out development. That impacts your ability to carry out diplomacy as well. Do you really want to cut off development? Are you cutting off your nose to spite your face here? I think that's what you're doing with USAID.
Dani, Miskell, ABC 10 News.
I feel him here, and I'm trying to keep their memory alive in this park that took them away.
This is Deborah Schlemmer's new tradition on Labor Day weekend, hanging banners and flyers.
All the time, I think about it every day.
Even talking to complete strangers.
Yeah.
About her son, David Bruley, and her step-grandson, Joseph Arias. They were both shot and killed August 30th, 2022.
I feel empty inside.
Right where she's standing. ABC 10 News was there and caught the aftermath.
Every day I think about it. I look at his pictures. I talk to him like, what happened to you guys? You know, like, I don't know anything. I'm in the dark about it all.
Deborah's sister, Kim Holcomb,
My nephew, yeah, we were very close.
helps her get the word out.
Please come forward so we can have a little bit of peace. It won't bring him back, but it'll help us sleep a little better.
This park is just the first stop for Deborah. She also went across the street to this plaza off of Brandywine Avenue and Sequoia Street to post up more flyers.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Deborah is putting up signs around these businesses. She knows deep down in her gut that somebody
Hi, guys.
must have heard or seen something.
I don't really know a whole lot. I just know that they came here and got shot and then drove down the street after they got shot and crashed into a tree.
The Chula Vista Police Department tells me their investigators have no updates for the public at this time, which is why Deborah keeps posting flyers. Here's her final stop on Brandywine Avenue.
They actually ran into.
She puts up crosses and writes a note in chalk on the sidewalk, right where David laid before he was taken to the hospital and later died, and where Joseph took his last breath.
Come on, babies. I miss you guys so much.
In Chula Vista, Dani, Miskell.
Hopefully one day this will work, you know.
ABC 10 News.